Hey friend, in this video we are going to break down John Ondrasik, aka Five for Fighting's breakdown of his own song Superman. This is a clip from the Brink of Midnight podcast, so we're going to be taking a look at this. Frankly, this is one of those that I'm just a huge Five for Fighting fan, easily in my top 5 artists. There was a while that they probably would number one. Arguably my favorite song of all time is 100 Years by them, so that's part of why I'm doing this, but I also think this is a really good, helpful breakdown for us to check out, so let's dive right into it.
Okay, so Superman is a very simple song. It's basically a 4-chord song with a kind of one-line hook. So beginning starts in C, A minor, down to the F.
So just to make sure we're on the same page, so the song is in the key of C major, and this is a 1-5-6-4 chord progression, which is the most common chord progression on the planet, to the point this is the one that, what is it, Axis of Awesome or something, made fun of with the, every pop song has the same chord progression. I'm pretty sure this song actually was featured in that, if I remember correctly. But anyway, there's a 1-5-6-4 chord progression in the context of C major, which means we have a C major, G major, A minor, and then an F major.
So whenever you have kind of a symbolism song, which to me this is, you're taking an iconic, kind of known figure, you want your first line to be something that is striking. So if you know the song Superman, the first line you would hope would catch people's attention. So, I can't stand to fly.
So this is a great point. I would go farther than just a symbolism song, that being important. I think really just having your opening line be something that really catches people's attention is generally just always the way to go. I believe Pat Pattison refers to it as power positions, if I remember correctly. That might be from Andrea Stolpe, so forgive me if I got that one wrong. But regardless, it's definitely one of those places that if you want every line to be great, but certainly some of the lines that you really want to be great would be things like the opening line of your chorus, the closing line of your chorus, and then the opening line of your entire song. Usually the first and last of pretty much every section would fit in with this, but really you just want to make sure that that first line is something that instantly hooks people and is like, oh, that's intriguing. Okay, let me pay attention to what more they have to say.
I'm not that naive, I'm just out to find a better part of me. So in the beginning, Superman doesn't want to be Superman. I can't stand to fly. What does that mean? How could Superman... We all want to fly. I want to fly. So then you start taking the kind of iconic images of Superman, right? I'm more than a bird. I'm more than a plane. More than some pretty face beside a train. And here's the hook, very simple. It's not easy to be me. That's basically the song.
So something else important in this is, I think a part of what makes this song so special and well done is that it takes a known entity but does something unexpected with it, right? Because Superman's kind of the epitome of who wouldn't want to be Superman. I mean, I think Superman is super lame. I'm more of a Spider-Man's my favorite, Batman's second favorite, and Superman, even Henry Cavill, as far as I'm concerned, couldn't make Superman cool. He came close, but because he's so very cool. But Superman is just so that lame to me, and yet I would kill to be Superman, of course. Who wouldn't? You're basically indestructible, you're ripped, you're tall, you're everything that any guy wants to be. But right away, we're establishing the whole, like, oh, Superman doesn't want to be Superman. That instantly is something that is surprising and is a different, unexpected take compared to what we would expect Superman to be thinking, which instantly makes it something very compelling.
Then... wish that I could cry. Superman can't cry.
DC fans or Superman fans, fact check that. Is that true? Is that true? It's probably true. I'm going to assume that he's right. As I said, I'm not a Superman guy, so what do I know? But that's interesting to me.
Fall upon my knees, find a way to lie, but a home I'll never see. It may sound absurd, don't be naive. Even heroes have the right to bleed. And this is the only difference from when I wrote it to the song you hear. After that, when I first wrote it, it was going right to the hook. It's not easy to be me, but my producer Greg said you should double up that pre-hook. So I wrote a second line. So, may sound absurd, don't be naive. Even heroes have the right to bleed. I may be disturbed, won't you concede? Concede. My dad likes that I use the word concede in a pop song. Even heroes have the right to dream.
Something intriguing in that, well, two things actually. One, a thing that I really like about Five for Fighting is he makes a ton of use of actually having choruses with different lyrics. In fact, I think every single one of their singles, or almost all of their singles, the chorus changes lyrics, some more significantly than others. Superman, every chorus has some different lyrics. I believe Chances, that's true. 100 Years, that's true. A lot of his songs, he actually adjusts the lyrics every time in the chorus, which really adds a lot of story information with the song still being, not any longer. So in a 4-minute song, if you're changing the lyrics in the chorus, you can get a lot more story information in than you can when you have the same chorus every time. But also we talked about specifically doubling up and effectively making it so that his chorus is twice as long, more or less, the second time around, which can also be a very effective tool. It's kind of the same idea as when songs will have a post-chorus, but they don't actually play the post-chorus after the first chorus, but the second chorus, the second time they play the chorus, then they put the post-chorus at the end. And something this also gets you is just that you're giving the listener a new thing to hook them that they haven't heard before. Because if you go verse, chorus, maybe even a third verse, chorus, right? By that third verse, people are like, okay, I know how the story goes. It's the same two back and forth. But that post-chorus, or in this case, having a double up on the chorus, assisted by the fact that also the lyrics are different, really helps to keep people's attention from a practical standpoint.
And it's not easy to be If you're gonna sing up and away, the music better go with it. Up and away. So we're moving up the keyboard, A minor, G over B, C. Away from me, now it's alright.
So that's called word painting, for what it's worth, and that's when like the words and the music are sort of doing the same thing. So while he's saying up and away, the music is literally going up. Just quick breakdown in case you missed it. So he's going from A minor chord and then a G major chord, but the reason that it sounds like it's going up is in the bass he has a B, so it's technically first inversion of a G major chord, which is what gives you that A, B, C ascending bass line that you hear that gives it that ascending sound, even though technically the chords themselves aren't ascending. He's not utilizing a B diminished chord, which would be the naturally occurring chord with a B in the bass in the key of C major. Just in general, diminished chords tend to sound pretty terrible. Not always, but they're very rarely used for a good reason, I would say. So instead, he goes from A minor to a G major chord, but he's putting the B in the bass and then to a regular C major chord. The power of inversions is shown by that, because it does have that ascending sound, but he's still able to have a major chord instead of utilizing a diminished chord that would probably sound janky there.
You can all sleep sound tonight. I'm not crazy. Or is he? Or anything. I can't stand to fly. I'm not that naive. Men were meant to ride with clouds between their knees. I'm only a man in a funny red sheet. Now here you bring it all home. Digging for kryptonite, right? Why would you dig for kryptonite if you're Superman? Maybe if you want to feel something. Only a man in a funny red sheet, looking for special things inside of me.
Something great about that, the whole digging for kryptonite line. Sometimes, especially with new songwriters, but I think a lot of songwriters sometimes, and really any type of writer, especially movies these days, are especially bad at this. They just assume everybody who is on the consuming or listening end of the what is ostensibly art to be stupid, or at least it seems that way. They're like force feed you, like, get it? This character is evil. get it, right? Like they hit you over the head with it, but often there's power in artistic subtlety. He's not hitting you over the head. He's not explaining. He's showing instead of telling. So if you've ever heard the writing expression, show, don't tell. He's not telling you, hey, Superman wants to feel something. That would be boring. It would make a crap song. But instead, he's showing you that Superman wants to feel something by telling you the information that he's digging for kryptonite so that he can feel something. But he's not telling you why. It's not laid out. You're supposed to figure it out because you have a brain and I have a brain and we're capable of figuring it out. So he's trusting the listener to be intelligent, which is something that I think a lot of artists could learn from, especially people in Hollywood these days. Don't be afraid to be subtle. The way I've worded it before, I believe, is don't be afraid to have your brilliance lost on people, right? So if you have a brilliant idea and line, don't be afraid to tuck it in some place that people don't even notice. Don't like hit people over the head with, get it? I just said something smart. That's a smart lyric. So I'm going to like repeat it, right? He just lays that line out there. It's a brilliant little lyric. He doesn't repeat it, nothing. It's there, it's brilliant. You can catch it or not catch it. The song just moves on. It doesn't make a big deal of, see what we did there? See what we did there? Which is great.
The most important line of the song, looking for special things inside of me, which we all need to do. Inside of me, because we all have them. Superman.
I think the point to take from that is really if we can end on a note and end with a line that's particularly meaningful, that is another power position. That's another place to have a killer lyric. Think of this like in Inception. Inception's a great movie across the board. It's well acted, it's well written, the effects are great, right? Inception's just a great movie. But I think a part of what makes it go into absolute legendary status is that final scene, right, with the top. That's what made it so that me and my friends and you and your friends probably kept talking about the movie. Like, did the top fall? Does it matter that the top did or didn't fall? You know, why does it matter? Does it matter if his kids are real or if he's still in a dream? And it creates all this intriguing conversation because of the way that it ended. Your entire song's important, but often the bookends are some of the most important, right? Your first line and then your last line are things to look at. So hopefully this was helpful to you. If it was, something else you may find helpful is I have a free guide on 10 different ways to start writing a song if you want to get started with songwriting. There's a whole bunch of different ways to start writing a song. There's not just one way. A lot of people start with a chord progression, but I'm actually a huge fan of not starting with a chord progression, which I won't break down in this video why. But overall, there are a bunch of different ways to start writing a song. So if you are a new or a seasoned songwriter, there's certainly some new ways to start your song off that maybe you haven't tried before that might bring you a breath of fresh creative air that you didn't have before. Because I know for me, if I try to keep starting my songs the same way over and over again, I sort of start to run out of creativity. So you may have found that you started every song by sitting with an acoustic guitar and you come up with a chord progression and then you figure out a melody from there. So eventually you might find that your songs start to sound all the same or your creativity is running dry. But if you just, for example, pulled out that old dusty flute that you used to play in high school and wrote the melody first with the flute, or maybe you just wrote a bass line first, even if it's just with the lowest string of your guitar, you don't need a bass to write a bass line, or you started with a piano or a melody, or you started on the lyrical side of things. No matter what, there are different ways to start writing a song that can be super effective. So be sure to check that out. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I'll talk to you in the next one.